Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, wherever you're joining us from, whichever part of the world. My name is El, and I'm all right, and I'm welcoming you to your counselors here on YouTube, and it's brought to you by Romance Cafe and Flesh to Flesh of All Right Fashion Counselors Network. It is good to know that you find it important and you are here. Okay, the month of August, we said we are going to be talking about everything that has to do with masculinity, that has to do with men, that has to do with male men, right? We understand now there are some people who are choosing to be transgender, but we are focusing on male men, right? Those are things we want to discuss about in this month of August. And we have more than 15 men that will be joining us all through August, discuss on different issues. Today, we have one question, right? As you can see on your screen. And that question is, am I a real man? Am I a real man? Every now and then, we men, we get to ask ourselves these questions, maybe because of the economic challenges we are facing, the leadership issues we are dealing with in our homes, in our spaces, in our workplace, at school. We have to there are many different things that we get to deal with and all of that. So practically this is designed to see how we can just help everyone understand men better and help everyone hear us, all right? Because yes, we have not been heard. We have not been heard. Again and again, we have not been heard. Tonight, I have five amazing men joining me to discuss this particular topic. All through this topic, my friend Chijoke Moses will be with me all through, right? All through the month of August discussing this topic. And I have amazing people who are also joining me, and I'll be bringing them up one after the other. The first person I want to bring up is Mr. Victor Igbokwe. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Good evening, sir.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Oh, I
Good
pronounced
evening.
that correctly, right?
Yeah, I tried.
Because sometimes people come up and they say, hey. Especially when it comes to my name, I see people who are unable to pronounce my name. And I'm like, no, that's not how to pronounce the name. This is actually how to go about it. This is how to hear the name. This is how it sounds. I remember one time I was in Makurdi for 2 years, and by the time I was leaving Makurdi, I could not remember how my name was being pronounced again because they have started pronouncing something different. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, another person I'll be bringing up today is one of my young friends, one of my former teenagers. I'll call him one of my ex-teenagers, Mr. Barnabas. How you doing? Oh, it's like we are having network issues with Mr. Barnabas. Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, I want to add Mr. Of course, everyone, if you're part of the All Right Passion, you know Mr. Tolushe Do Francis. Bros, how far are you doing?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, all right. Welcome, Mr. Barnabas. Good to be here.
Thank you for showing up. Okay, one more person that's supposed to be with me in Ibadan here, but he ran away to Lagos. He's in Lagos right now, but he's joining us live from there. Mr. Sile, how far are you there?
Hello, all right.
One,
Mr. Victor.
Mm.
Hello. I just follow.
Okay, that's great. Okay, fine. So what's going to happen now is that we'll be going straight into the conversation because I don't want to take all of your evening and the rest. So I'll be starting with Mr. Victor, to Lucia, and to Chile right away. Sir Victor, Mr. Chijioke helped us to reach you, right? We were able to connect with you through Mr. Chijioke Moses. I would like to ask, what was it that came to your mind, right? The moment you saw the topic, am I a real man? What was that thing that came to mind?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited about this topic. I think the definition of being a real man is one of the most misunderstood and concepts today. The general myth in the society is that for you to be a man, you need to be wealthy.
True.
Good looks, macho, four packs, six packs, have influence and power in society. Be someone that everyone wants to reckon. But the big question is if every man have power and influence in his world. So why is there so many problems in society today, especially in the family? So it means that definition is fundamentally wrong. Because if it was correct, for you to be a real man, there shouldn't be challenges.
Yeah.
We are facing in the society today. So it borders around understanding the original blueprint of what it means to be called a man. So my own definition of being a real man. Number one, a man.
Sugar.
It's not.
I'm with you. I'm with you, sir.
All right. So a man is not defined by how much money he has. The true definition of a man, one of the important characteristics of a man, is that he is a progenitor. Now, the word progenitor means a source. Now, not just source of giving life, giving birth to children, like source of inspiration, source of direction, source of ideas, source. So a man is not, you can't say a man is complete when it comes into his family and he doesn't have a presence. That presence what I'm talking about is he is a source of inspiration at all times. Anytime he's not around, he's missed, he's greatly missed. That's part of what you call a man. Like when you are not in the family or you're not around, nobody misses you. In fact, people, your family or your family members or people around you wish that you are not around, because if you're around, nobody gets to miss you. Because you are not a source of anything. You're just a source of, I don't know what to say, like a source of, is it discouragement? You are angry. You easily, pick offenses and the rest of it. You are not a progenitor. In other words, you can't be called a man. Secondly, one of the second characteristics for you to be called a man is that you should be not just a progenitor, but you should be a provider. Now, that is where the whole society comes in play. Everybody talks about he has to have money. Of course. You can't call yourself a man if you don't have financial responsibility. So there are a lot of things I could talk about, but because of time, I will kind of stop. But generally, to be a man is summed up in the word responsibility.
Okay.
Responsible for the way your family sees you, for the way the society is, your spouse, your children, everything sums around being responsible for being a source of inspiration, source of provision, a protector, a source of inspiration, visionary. When you have all these qualities, you can be called a complete man.
Yeah.
So that's my definition of being a real man. Not really about having money or being wealthy or being influential in the society. In addition to those, these are other things that makes a complete man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those amazing words. And if you're watching right now, wherever you're watching from, you may want to let us know where you're watching from. And if you have any questions or you have any comments, drop them in the comment section and we will pick them up. So, Mr. Tolushe, what was it that came to your mind when you saw that topic? Of course, if you want to know about our guests, just check the description section and you will see an extract, a summary of their profile, so you know who they are, what they do, by just checking the description. So, Mr. Tolushe, you're the mental health therapist, and you get to work with men a lot. You get to deal with people who are having the identity crisis, the identity issues, and all of that. So, I would like to ask you, what was it that came to your mind the first time you got the topic?
Thank you very much. All right, there's an echo. You might need to mute yourself or exit any platform you are listening from. There's feedback.
Sorry, I did not know that. I'll try and fix this right away.
All right. Thank you. So when I got the topic, of course, I mean, asking, am I a real man? For me, is those kind of questions that people get to ask when they are facing challenges and they are questioning their identity. They're questioning where they belong. First and foremost, if you look at it biologically, you're a man because you have the penis and you have the scrotum, as it were. You're not a man if you have the vagina. You're not a man if you have a womb that can hold a baby. You're a man by design, biologically, because you have the penis and your breast is not lactating, as it were, because you have breast. And it doesn't take away the fact that both genders have a touch or a bit of each other's hormones. That's why you find some women with beards, because they have a part of the male hormone as well. It's not just dominant. That's why they are feminine. But then when we look at the question of, am I a real man? I think it comes from the angle of you asking yourself, do I fit into the cultural definition of who a man is? First of all, I like to look at it from that angle of, first of all, do I fit into the cultural definition of who a man is, before we not even begin to talk about, am I a real man? Because in the real sense of it, what makes a real man? What's the definition of real? Right? It's who classifies who is real and who is not real, right? So for me, I think that we need to start from, am I even a man, right? So what's the culture, what's the societal expectation from me if I claim that I'm a man? I don't want to look at it from the angle of a married man now. Let's look at it as man as a whole. So I looked at the question and initially wanted to ask, all right, where is this coming from? But I know that it's going to puts me on the spotlight. So let's look at it together. Am I a real man? The question comes from a place of, am I even who people would consider to be a man? Am I able to meet my obligations within the society of what people have termed that men should be able to do? Am I the one who is able to say, hey, come here, let me lend a hand to you? Within the family of your siblings, I don't even want to look at the within marriage now. Within the family of siblings, are there some tasks that people believe that is for men? And when they call you, are you able to step forward to say, yes, I am a man, let me do this? We hold this belief that certain things are left for men, certain things are left for women. I remember I was having a conversation with a lady, I think it was last week or early this week. You know, she was asking me about my view about chores within the house. Do I believe that certain chores are for women or certain chores are for men? And I laughed because I grew up in a home where my father didn't care whether you are male or female. I think the only thing my father won't ask you to do is to pound yam when I was growing up. But you see, washing of cars, sweeping the house, cooking, anybody he finds available will do it. My sisters wash cars like say tomorrow, no day. You know. So I mean, how each of us grew up within our own family also creates a notion within us to make us feel whether we are men or we are not. We don't even know where we belong to. You know, and a number of times it stems from the kind of responsibilities that people give to us, the kind of responsibilities that families give to us, kind of responsibilities that the society expect from us. So I don't know what the definition of a real man is. I would want to go from the concept of a man because there is no fake man. And then another time that this kind of question comes up is when it comes to the activities in the other room. Let's call it what it is. And then you begin to hear the thing like 2 minutes man, 2 seconds man, and stuff like that. But I think that you have to partition this entire thing to ask yourself, what are things that I can work on if I feel like I'm not man enough? What are things that I just have to live with if I think that I'm not man enough? And that way, you're able to help yourself to circumspectly walk towards those things that you think you can correct and accept the things that you cannot, understanding that it's not a function of your gender or the man that you are, but that what makes you a human being is on one hand, and what makes you or what brings that gender is on the other hand. You're first of all a human being. You're first of all a human being that has blood flowing through the veins. You're first of all a social being. I don't want to use the word social animal. You're first of all a social being, right? Before you now even start talking about gender. And you have to understand who you really are as a person, your self-worth. Are you comfortable in your skin? Are you comfortable in yourself as a man and not just who people say that you are? If you can think of that, then the question of am I a real man will not even come in. It will rather be a question of am I a man or am I a woman? Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I hope I'm no longer echoing.
No, it's fine.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Sile, before I come to Chijoke, who just joined us, and also Barnabas, because then when it comes to Chijoke and Barnabas, I'll be asking what are some of the emotional and social issues you may have had in defining what masculinity is, what manhood is. I remember listening to one of the persons that I love listening to the most, Jordan Peterson, and he said no, it was not Jordan Peterson that made this particular statement, or somebody else that said there's no need of you trying to say toxic masculinity or not. Masculinity is masculinity. People are toxic, whether they are males or they are females or they are transgenders or they are sexuals. People are generally toxic. So don't come and be saying toxic masculinity. Just say masculinity, or you say toxic people, but don't attach it to masculinity. So to Barnabas Achijoke, I will come to you regarding that. But Mr. Sile, I would like to ask, what was it that came to your mind when I contacted you and I said, I want you to be on this particular panel?
Right. I'm sure we can all hear me.
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Awesome. You know, when I saw the invitation, my mind went to a book written by T.D. Jakes in 1997. So You Call Yourself a Man.
I remember that book.
You've read about it?
Yes.
You know, I was in the early 2000s, and I saw the book, and I came back to buy the book, and I remember reading the book. In fact, the book is one of my most treasured books because while discovering what it means to be a man, one of the things that came up for me was that a man has the responsibility to name his children. And you know, that was one of the things that I think was Barnabas that was saying, sorry, it was Victor that was saying it, that, you know, he's a progenitor. So what came to my mind when I saw the topic, am I a real man, is first and foremost, so you call yourself a man. It means that there's a question as far as the identity of being a man is. There's a question there. And for me, everybody has spoken excellently. They have reached out to the issues. But for me, I think I'll define being a man in 3 ways. The first one is societal. The society has expectations of men and has expectations of who a real man should be, how a real man should operate. The second one is spiritual. And whether you're Christian, Muslim, or whatever, there are expectations in your holy books about how a man should operate. And I think the final one is personal. Out of these 3, the societal, the spiritual, and the personal, for me, the personal is the most important because it is what you define as being a man that everybody that would most affect you, because it's how you define yourself as being a man that would affect you the most. Even if everybody is putting pressure on you and saying that this is what you're expected to do, and we see this with the whole transgender community and the drag queens and everything. Their societal expectations of how they should be, but they have chosen personally how they want to be, and they don't deny being men. They are just men expressing themselves in a different way. So as much as there are societal expectations and there are spiritual expectations, fundamentally the expectations of who a real man is very personal. And I'm so excited I will be talking about this, because many of these struggles of manhood, of defining who a man is and measuring yourself up to whatever standard you have set for manhood, are the things that really plague us as men. Many times you need, I don't want to go into that. Maybe I'll wait till later on. But that is really where, for me, the topic stems from. Am I a real man? The question is, who is a real man? So when you define who a real man is, you can now use that. And again, that definition, in my opinion, is not to be found in any book. It is very personal. And obviously, this is where you have people like role models come in. You have people that you consider as, oh, this person is a man, and you measure yourself by that standard. Oh, am I as good in this area as this person, or am I as good in this area as that person? So, am I a real man is a very fundamental question. It's the question of, am I living up to my own expectations of myself? And I just can't stress this enough. Being a man is a personal standard that you must define, or else you will just keep on, not measuring up, because the goalposts will keep shifting. The goalposts will, by the time you think, oh, being a man is, I'm a millionaire, you become a millionaire and you realize that there's 100 millionaire. And then you become a 100 millionaire and you realize there's a billionaire. And then you become a billionaire and then you realize that there's a trillionaire. And then you become a trillionaire, because it never ends. So
I get that.
am I a man is not a common societal, which I believe is the lowest form. It's spiritual, depending on the holy book that you subscribe to. But most importantly, it is personal. And I think that those are things that came to my mind. Thank you. All right.
Great, thank you. You mentioned it is social, it is spiritual, and it is personal, right? So, Chijioke, I would like to ask, because the thing about it is that, excuse me, we get to, whether we like it or not, we get to be tempted to want to define ourselves. Oh, we lost Chijioke, but that's different. We want to be tempted to define ourselves based on some standards, right? You want to know what's the standard you should attain to. You want to know what is it that is expected of you. And I like the way we have all talked about this particular topic, starting from Mr. Victor, and we have expressed different parts of it, one after the other, which is amazing and super clear enough, right? And this is it, is that if we don't have a yardstick of judging ourselves, if we don't have a measure by which we rate and see ourselves, we may not be able to get a proper definition. Like, for example, if we are talking about the transgender issues, we just tell ourselves that we are going to use biology, right? That's what most of us who are on this side get to use. We just simply say biology. What were you born as? Were you born as a man or you were born as a woman? Like, biology just becomes our yardstick. We are not talking about your orientation, your ideas, your thinking. Were you born with a penis? Were you born with a vagina? That biology just becomes the definition, right? But when it comes to being a man now, Sile has made it more complicated, because Sile now says it is social. We can define it socially, we can define it spiritually, we can define it personally. So, Chijioke, I'm very sorry that you are the first person who's going to respond to this. Unfortunately, the last person put you in that spot and gave you that trouble. Now, yes, because now, if it's socially, we know what socially is expected of us as men in our respective community. If it's religiously, if it's based on our religious faith, based on your religious faith, you can pick up your holy book and know what is expected of you, right? But when it now comes to personal, I can no longer judge you. I can no longer rate you. I can no longer assess you. because it's not so personal. So, Mr. Chijioke, what are those things that you have seen over time that people have tried to use to say, okay, this is a man, this is a real man? Tolucia gave a clue to one of them as to how well you perform in the other room. But for you, what have been your experience also as a counselor?
Okay, thank you very much. All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, so yeah, while he was talking, and of course talking about how the different definitions, I just remembered what I was brooding over earlier today while I was thinking about this topic. Can you hear me, guys? Okay, yeah, while I was reading about this topic. So the truth is that it will be very, very important for us to insist on, and that's why I liked the way Tolucia began, to insist on defining a man, based on gender in this age. Trust me, it will be very important because, there are now so many redefinitions. Because I think earlier today I just went online on Google and punched it, who is a man? And I started seeing all sort of things, crazy stuffs, definitions. So if you want to define masculinity based on your personal interpretation of the word, I think we'll just end up having so many definitions, so many. So there has to be a standard. There has to be a standard. Somehow there has to be a standard. And for me, that standard is okay. So before I even go there, let me even talk about even take it further. Let me take it further from where Tolucia stopped. So we talk about sex. Now, in this age and time, people define masculinity, based on how much a man can perform in bed. It's one of the yes, now man you be once you are good in bed. So you see all these guys selling all sort of nonsense everywhere. People are buying, trying to become men. Trying to. No, it's important. It's one of the things that a man should be able to do, but that is not what makes you a man. And if you cannot do it, doesn't mean you are less of a man. Trust me, it does. Personally, that's how it doesn't mean it doesn't make you less of a man. It's just one of the things that a man should be able to do. But that you cannot do it at a particular point doesn't make you less of a man. But of course, society has defined manhood, as being that. So it's hard for men to deal with it. Even when you know who you are as a man, you know who you are. Once you go into the other room and you come out and you didn't do well, there's just this thing, because of how society has programmed it. So so it's one of the things one of the issues. And another thing is, physique and physical strength. So I remember when I was growing up, for example, I'll never forget this story in a hurry. My dad, one day I went to fetch water, so while we were growing up, I grew up in Benin. We go outside our house to fetch water. So my dad was at the veranda watching me. I fetched a 10 liters gallon. I think I was probably 15 or 16, 14, 15 or then, then I can't remember now, but something around that. So after fetching the water, I was trying to put water on my head, but it was hard for me. I think I was hungry or something. I don't even remember what happened, but I was struggling to put that water on my head. And I had to call somebody. The person helped me. When I got home, my father beats me. They can't beat me. The man took me, I almost finished my life. Like, is this how this is? So this is how you want this? This is who you are. So this is what because my father didn't live with us. So he was living in Lagos then. So he comes to see us. So he had not seen me do something physical. That was the first time. So he beats me the hell out of me because he felt I should be able to carry that thing. So he was saying things like, "You are a man. You should be able to carry this kind of something that is this weighty. You are a man." So he kept saying that, and so that thing just altered, or it just gave me a definition of who a man should be instantly. So as I was growing up, So while growing up, for me, when I see a man who is not physically strong, he's a man, he's masculine, he's male, but he's not physically strong. He just alters, the way I see him. In my head, it alters my perception of that male man, that male rather. At that point, it was until I started reading books, I started exposing myself to materials, I started, questioning certain things, and I realized that it's not even about physical strength. You know,
Yeah.
there are men who are not physically strong. Some of them are crippled. Some of them are, you know, invalid. Some of them have, but they are real men. Trust me. You know, you see a man like Nick, popular Nick, one of those popular preachers. He's a man. Man doesn't have legs, but he's a man. You know, that he's not able to do some physical things doesn't make him less of a man. Another thing is, you know, in terms of course, looks, you know, so men have to be bearded, men have to have six packs and all of that. You know, that is important as well, but that is not what makes someone a real man. So that you have all the beds and you have six packs.
You say it's important because you are a giant, of course.
No, because of that.
Yeah.
I don't even have six packs. I have one round pack here. I wish I could open it for you guys. Among
all of us that are here, you are the tallest and the biggest. So obviously, you'll be you are as tall as I am, and over as Sile, and you are bigger than us by far. So you are a giant. Your father.
That doesn't make that is not what makes me a man, actually.
Measure ourselves based on his own standard.
Because the reason is because these days there are even women that have muscles these days, even work out, you know, and do better at the gym than men. So if you want to define a man based on his, you know, his performance at the gym, then you'll be getting it wrong as well. Yeah. So I'm just trying to. Okay. All right, you don't bother.
I'm taking already, so I don't need to show off again.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'll be going to Barnabas, and by the time Barnabas gives his opinion, other questions that I'll be asking will be thrown open to the house, which means I'll just want us to jump on it as we feel, should I say feel led? That would be sounding very spiritual, as we find proper, right? So but then, Mr. Barnabas, I would like to ask you this question, and the reason why I'm asking you this question is that you are in your early 20s, right? So some of us here, we are now in our late 30s. You are in the early 20s, so being a teenager will still be fresh in your memory. You can still remember what you have suffered as a teenager. What some of us suffered in the hands of guests as teenagers, we may not remember again because it no longer counts, right? That it has been so. We have now experienced so many things that the layers are now so thick, and the layers have laid upon each other. So I would like to ask you, for someone like you who you happen to be in your early 20s, you just crossed over from teenage years, and now you are also, I have lost him. Okay, Petty, when he comes back, I will still ask him that question, because the question I wanted to ask him, which anyone here can also answer, is that at that phase of your life of being a teenager and crossing into adulthood, I don't know if you can still remember. It's been a long time we were teenagers. Like, I was a teenager how many years ago? That was like 16 years ago, right? That has been a long time. That's almost another person's teenage entire life, right? So what is it you want to use to define masculinity for people today? That's just what I want to use. Whether you are using personal, or you're using religious, or you're using whatsoever it is that you are using, how would you want to define? What are those things you want to find in a person and you say this guy is a man? Because we know that the biology is there. You said what?
I said, are we speaking as teenagers, like when we were teenagers? How we
when
saw
we are teenagers,
we are
and
speaking
even now.
We are speaking today.
Let's speak today. Of course, manhood is a journey. This masculinity for us has been an experience. It's been a journey.
Write that down. Manhood is a journey. I swear.
So I'll just like, before I come back to Barnabas, I'll just like any of us who may want to answer, to just answer that. What are those things that you can just use to pinpoint and identify?
Whether it is even your own personal yardstick, but once you see it's another person, you're like, man, this guy they try. For me, number one, the ability to pay school fees.
Hey,
Whether you
Because
made the money or you borrowed the money.
Women pay school fees too now.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
don't know
That's
that,
why I
man.
was going to take an exception to that. I take an exception to that. I think that if we look back, so I remember growing up, I was very short and round, you know, and you know this that they say that short people are the ones that look for trouble the most. I agree because without my height, then I'll still sit at the back of the
I
class.
agree too.
I'll sit at the back of the class and I'll still be looking for trouble, you know. And the you know where the society is when everybody's having girlfriends, you know, and you're just there, you're not having girls, like you waiting be your problems. Are you sure you're a man like this? You know, and you begin to question if indeed there's a reason, or maybe you got to toast somebody and they told you and then you're toasting, you begin to say that is there something wrong? As I grew older, I didn't have a problem toasting babes when I was a teenager. Anyways, I was a fine boy, so it wasn't difficult for me to toast them. Anyways, but the point is, as I grew from my teenage age into early adulthood, I began to realize that the society just kind of has some expectations from me, right?
True,
Because it became a function of you can't do this because you are this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I got the strongest time. The time I got this message, the strongest was when the pastor was about to break the news of the death of my mom to me. You know, he started by saying, you know, you're a man and you just have to hold yourself together. It has pleased God to call your mom home. I felt like stoning him. I was like, I don't understand. What has been a man got to do with this?
Got to do with this.
But then, I think that sometimes when you look at the challenges that come to you, the responsibilities that come to you, whether the ones that you like, that you take yourself, and the ones that you have no choice than to take, you realize that, okay, this is actually what they mean by being a man. I mean, recently I was conversing with my siblings. So because I mean my siblings, a number of them are here in Lagos, and so whenever they go to their dad and it will tell them to come back to me, you know that whatever I say, myself and himself will now have conversations around it. And one day I was like, "Come, people are stressing me. What is it, Seth?" You know, they were like, "Whether you like it or not, you're our father here in Nigeria. You are the man of the house." And I was like, okay. You know, so there are some responsibilities that you just see yourself, taking them up, and there are some that you don't even have a choice. You just have to take, you know. And I think most importantly, and I usually like to share this with teenagers, that the moment you realize that when you wake up in the morning, your John Thomas is singing Hallelujah chorus, just know you cannot escape calling yourself a man. Because if it doesn't stand, then you should be scared. But the fact that it can stand early morning to sing Hallelujah chorus, that's enough sign to know that anything you do out there, you have to take responsibility for it. So I think it cuts across different experiences for everyone. And you just have to realize, some will just realize at some point that, okay, it's like what they say is true that I mean, my wife, some are still asking, okay, but am I really a man? You know, because some of them have these, there are some men who don't have beards at all.
Of course, and genetic reasons. And there are some men that even their penis does not stand in the money. For maybe one health reason or the other. You know, there was something that Mr. Victor said at the beginning, and you know, when he was talking about the fact that a man is a progenitor, and every other person has contributed also to support that. You know, that there's this is the word innate or instinctive? There's this innate instinctive response. You just know you are supposed to solve this problem. You just know you are supposed to deal with this issue. Like, this should not be happening, right? You are supposed to just come in and stand there and stay there. So I would like to ask Mr. Sile, before I come back to you, I would like to ask Mr. Victor, have there been times in your life personally where you had to question your own masculinity? Right? Yeah,
Yes,
you have
of
to like
course.
no on a very serious
Wow.
note.
Yes,
What
of
was it
course.
like?
Just like it wasn't. I think just like what Mr. Chichoke was talking about, and also in line with what Tumushe said. When I was growing up, in my class, when I was in JS3, I was the smallest. Should I say my size? In fact, when I was in primary school, they used to call me rat. It was as bad as that, like rat. If I have to translate that in Igbo, it means okay. Do you understand? So anything I do, if I want to try to do like others, they say, who is this rat? As in they bring back because of my stature. So when I
Yes.
got to JS3, so because I look at some of these guys that are tall and they're my class, and I look at myself. So sometimes whenever they start to they try to do things, I kind of go back, and it started affecting my psychology and my self-esteem about, do I really belong? So I think that made me to start reading hard, so that even if I don't get to do things like these guys are doing, but at least let it show in my results. You get? So I think generally, just like what everybody is talking about, I think definition of being a man is, should I say, is relative, because it's based on your experience coming up and what you were able to do and what you were not able to do, and then things you decided to unlearn and learn. For instance, I felt when I was growing up that being a man is being tall. Like when they just like Mr. Chijoke talked about being tall, you need to be huge. You need to be able to do some of those hard things, And naturally, men are not expected to cry. You are not expected to show weakness. So imagine where you get to, meet certain challenges that you can't do this, and you don't believe that you can actually do. You begin to doubt your own masculinity. So it leads to low self-esteem, and it makes you it has a lot of ripple effects. But personally, what I have to say about the whole discussion about being a man and growing up is there are things we learned when we were growing up, and it became part of us. And watch your personality as a man, the way you relate with people, the way you talk, the way you see things. In fact, the way you see money, the way you see women, girls, family, relationship, everything is a sum total of what you experience when you are coming up. So me, I suffer low self-esteem because of my height and because of what I was called when I was in primary school. I got into secondary school. I wasn't that tall. It was when I got into SS2, SS3, and I started growing small. I started gymming, because I felt that for me to be called a man, even if I'm not tall, I should have muscles. So after SS3, I was gymming, I was going to gyms, and so these were definitions. I was thinking that was what makes a man. But over time, I discovered that is not actually the definition. These are social standards. These are social definitions of how to be a man. So personally, I had challenges, but I had to conquer them. So I don't think I still hold dear those definitions I had when I was growing up. I think I have a better definition of being a man, and I had challenges, and with time I overcame them, and I got better understanding of what it means to be called a man.
In fact, while you were saying the last words, I just said to myself, in this world, for this life, I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself, right?
All right. Can I even say something? Sorry, can I add something to just to also share a personal experience? So I didn't even finish that story I was sharing. So after that thing happened with my dad, like I said, I grew up, trying to fit into his narrative. So I remember, okay, I was very skinny. You're talking about my height. All right, have you seen my picture from 15, 20 years ago?
Not yet.
If you see me, even 10 years ago, as I was in 2013, 2017, I was in uni. If you see me, you will run. I was so thin. So then in my school, you know, when I fight with boys and girls, when I fight with girls, girls beat me. It was that bad. So at the point, I had this group of friends in school, you know, classmates who were always talking about cultism, and so for them, a man has to be able to do some violent things. So in my head, I'm like, that means, you know, if I'm able to join the cult, you know, or you know, blend, then it will change the way everybody sees me. So of course, I come from a very religious family, so my mom and my dad, they would not give me the space for that. So when I got admission to study University of Benin, my number one goal was to find a cult and join in school.
You wanted to
I knew the one I
blend.
wanted. I knew the one I wanted to join. I knew the one I wanted to join because I wanted to step into manhood. But you know, should I say unfortunately, anyone got into school and on my first Sunday service in school, you know. Jesus stole my heart. Jesus stole my heart, and for 4 years I did. So let me just define for me. Let me define masculinity or manhood. Manhood for me is, you know, having a sense of purpose, discovering who you are. For me, it's more about self-discovery, knowing who you are in the light of, you know, how God created you, and then allowing that knowledge, you know, that sense of purpose influence how you do every single thing. For me, that's what it means to be a man. So, of course, when you discover yourself, when you discover purpose, you know that life is beyond you and living is beyond you.
Sure.
You know, and then you discover that you have to be selfless, that you have to live for others, and then you allow that consciousness influence every aspect of your life, from how you do family to how you do finances to how you do relationships, how you manage every single thing. So once you have a sense of purpose, so you know, in a society like Nigeria, once you have money, plenty money, nobody's asking what you're doing with that money. Once you have money, you know, and you can take care of your family, you are a man. Just like Alright said, you can pay school fees, your children's school fees. You are driving, you know, a big car. You have a big house, and all of that. Once you can meet up with responsibilities. But then, what is meeting up with responsibilities without doing it from a place of purpose? People just, you know, give birth to children. They don't know why. You don't know why you should have kids. You grow up and you are 30, and then people are asking you to marry because you are 30, and then you get married without knowing why, you know, you should get married. Without knowing why you should have a family. So if you can, you know, correctly define the purpose for everything you do, and then you can do all the things you do, you know, from a place of purpose, a place of self-awareness, you know, and of course, you are male in physique. Then for me, you are a man. So it's a sense of purpose that, you know, makes the difference for me. Yeah, that's what
I want to ask Mr. Sile a question, because even before now we were all discussing. I tried talking to everybody one-on-one, and there are some of you here that I have constant communication with over the years because we are friends, right? Okay. The good thing is that it's only Mr. Victor that I'm going to start being friends with from today. The rest of you, I've known you guys over the years, right? So Chijoke since like 2012, thereabout. Sile over the years, Tolusha maybe 2015, 14, 15, and the rest. Mr. Sile, the question I'll be asking you is on how does our ability, this is how I want to ask the question, how does our ability to hide pain make us very masculine?
Man, all right. Thank you very much for that question. Because honestly, when everybody was talking about their teenage years and growing up, for me, that was the hallmark of a man. The ability to internalize pain, either physical pain or emotional pain. So if they are beating you on assembly and you cry, you are not a man. If you fall down the steps and you cry, you are not a man.
If you marry,
If somebody abuses you and you go and report, if they bully you in school and you go and report, you are not a man. So this
It's
what the
like you're still paid.
I tell you, because I wish I knew better. You know, because what happened? Unfortunately, I can't speak like Victor. Both like Victor, I was part of the people that would have been calling you rats. Yeah, I would. Because the cycle of pain was that I moved on from being the oppressed to being the oppressor. So you know, small boy like me, we had sharp mouths. Nobody where would feel abused. But the idea of internalizing pain is a cultural thing, is what is expected. And this is something that we must resist as men. We are allowed to feel pain, emotional pain. We are allowed to feel disappointment. But you see, the problem is that the society and many people, I mean, look at what Solution was saying. He just experienced the death of a loved one, and they are telling you to man up. How is that healthy? Because I've been in such a situation before. I mean, for my own instance, when my mom died, I was the only one that was around. All my siblings and my father were not even around us in Ibadan where we stayed at the time. So, you know, this idea of, oh, as a man, you must be able to internalize, you can't discuss your pain, you must not show any weakness. It's a difficult thing, and it's an unhealthy thing. So I'll say that we men have to first and foremost, without crossing the line, we have to normalize feelings, and we have to create environments for men to feel it. Someone will say something.
Yes, I wanted to interrupt you on that, right? The question I wanted to ask is, are we supposed to express pain the way women do? Because in a situation where everybody is crying, we understand that David and all his men, they cried when they came back and discovered that their homes had been raided and the rest, and they cried. And one question I asked myself was, if the women were around, if the women and children were around, would they have cried like that? That's the question I asked myself. Would they have cried like that? So is there a way we are supposed to cry? Is there a way we are supposed to express our pain?
Brother, I was just leading up to that, because really and truly, we have to create safe spaces for us to express our pain. I'm telling you, I also don't believe that those guys would have cried that way if their wives and their siblings were there. And that's why what Alright is doing is very necessary. We need safe places where we can express our pain and we can feel the support that we need. Many men cannot talk to their wives about their weaknesses because it's going to lower their esteem.
Yes.
These are places that are dangerous. Many men of good repute who have weaknesses here and there. I mean, I know of guys that are active in church, but they cannot discuss their weaknesses with their pastor because they can't afford for pastors to see that they are struggling with something. They can't afford because of this facade, because of this expectation of, oh, I'm a man, everything must be okay all the time. Guys, I will tell you personally, everything is not okay all the time. So we must create safe environments for men. Now, should they express their emotions the way they ought to be? My brother, ordinarily they should, but they shouldn't. I know what I say. I know I sound confused, but we have the safe space for them to do it. Let them do it in those places. Because many times, if they do it in the wrong place, they will lose much more than they get.
It's like you wanted to interrupt.
Let me just round up here. After you know, Chijoke was talking and Victor was talking about the first R, which is responsibility. The next R for me is respect. Men live for respect. So one of the reasons why men will not express pain is because they feel that if they express pain, they show weakness and they lose respect. So I don't believe that men should express their emotions the same way and in the same places that women do, but they must find an outlet. They must also not express their emotions in a destructive way. We have normalized the anger of men. We have normalized violence with men. Violence is not acceptable by any standard. And so we must, we must set the standards right. So let me just tie it up here. As much as we want to allow people to have personal expectations and personal criteria for who a man is, I think that it's a responsibility of the men that are ahead, our fathers, our uncle, and we ourselves now, to set a standard of masculinity for those people that are coming behind. So we can't just leave it open-ended. We have talked about responsibility, yes, not only in responsibility, in taking responsibility for your actions, which was what Oga was talking about with Morning Wood, take responsibility for action, but also take responsibility for other people, which was what Chijoke was talking about when he says you have to have a passion, you have to have a vision. I remember I saw this in the comment section. Oh, somebody just brought it up. It says masculinity and spirituality and responsibility cannot be separated. So, to answer your question, all right, number one, yes, men need safe spaces where they can express their pain. Two, they should not express it in places where it will harm them more than do them good. For example, places where they will lose respect. Three, men that are ahead should lead by example on the standards and the values of what a good man should be. And four, all of us did this journey. Nobody has it perfect. We are all still trying to become. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. In fact, that last part is the fact that all of us, we are still trying to define it for ourselves. We are still trying to. It's funny that we that are the men, we have not yet been able to fully define it. We are still on that journey. We are still in that process of defining it. Then one woman is not telling you are not a man. Like, do you even know who a man is?
What do you know? What do
you know? If I show you a man, can you identify it? Measure the parameters for defining a man. So, okay, before I'll come to Mr. Victor, Mr. Chijoke, and Tulushe on the final words, I hope we'll be able to hear Barnabas now clearly. Barnabas, can we hear you clearly?
Yes, sir. Sorry about the network issues.
We're in Nigeria. We apologize for our country. Hopefully, we'll get better as it is.
Men bully themselves.
Yes, because in a man's world, that's why usually when some women come in and they face what men get, they are angry and they are like, no, you are supposed to treat them as a woman. I'm like, no. Among men compete against themselves. They fight against themselves. There's this competition, there's this strife, there's this bullying, so if you are saying you want to be like a man, you want to live in a man's world and be in a man's shoe, then you should be ready to face all those kind of things. But don't come in and now start wanting some special privileges. No, we don't give ourselves special privileges. We kill ourselves for political seats. We kill ourselves for managerial and CEO positions in the office. We blackmail ourselves to be able to get some kind of thing. And we wish that it could be better, but that's reality, because one way or the other, our life just kind of being a competition, because even when the women want to choose us, they are going to be choosing us on who is better, who is in more position. So we are competing together. So Mr. Barnabas, what has it been like for you? Is adulthood a scam as a man?
I would say adulthood is a scam for everyone. I mean, both genders. Yeah, just two genders, please. But I think a lot more for us as the male gender, seeing as, you know, society expects more from you, your female counterparts. I mean, if they are regarding a female child now, there's a particular way there are some things they would expect from a female child, and then as the male child, there are some other things that they will expect from you. Some responsibilities I take at home and some things I do, people are like, oh, it's because you are a boy now. You understand? And for my female friends, for my friends in school and stuff, they're like, oh, they don't do things like that. They don't experience things like that. So yeah, I think it's a lot tougher on us as men.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. I will not want to keep anyone longer because it's already a minute before 9. Mr. Victor, what would be your final words on today's topic? Am I a real man?
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Alright. Okay, I think summarily from everything we've talked about today, it's difficult. It's increasingly becoming difficult to be a man. Why I say that is social definitions of what a man is. Apart from social expectations, you are battling with comparison, where your family members are also comparing you with your mates. This person is doing well, and you're not doing well. You're in Nigeria, you've not, you should be in UK. At least 4 or 5 of your friends have left the country, and you're still here hustling. Like, is your own different? And you talk about pressures from the the opposite sex. You talk about a lot of things are just there, to give definition of what a man is. But I think I go with what Mr. Chijoke talked about. It starts from having peace within yourself and discovering first and foremost your self identity. Because, for instance, if I ask a question, Mr. L, right? Is Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk more manly than you?
The answer
the
will be
question
no.
can also go around. Good. Is Dangote more manly than you, Mr. Chijoke? Is he
He's
more
not,
manly than
bro.
you?
He's not.
Good. The same question goes to Mr. Tolushe and Mr. Barnabas. Is any of these people are they more manly than you? Like, is there something different that they are doing that you're not doing? Or is it that you have you have 3 legs or 2 heads, and then they have everything bothers about this definition. So the most important thing is, if a man can discover who he is, that authenticity is what gives you peace. Because once you discover who you are, you're not competing with anybody. I am Victor. That's my brand. The way I talk, my personality, the way I do, the way I behave is just me. I'm not two, right? Now, once you've had that peace within yourself, and then you discover exactly what you are cut out to do, you don't compete with anybody, you are just yourself. And then you discover that all those definitions and all those expectations from family, society, and everything, even though some of those things are correct, but within yourself, you have peace because you've discovered who you are, you discovered your identity. Why do you think that the reason why some of these guys carry guns and try to do like two-face and some of these is because they don't have an identity of themselves. And once there is that identity crisis, you tend to behave or do like someone else. And then that is when comparison comes in. That is when you feel inadequate. And that is when you start feeling less of yourself. So summarily, what I will have to say is the first step to becoming a real man, apart from making money, apart from getting married, apart from providing for your family, is self-identity. Discover your brand. Once you discover your brand, discover your self-identity, then you will discover that every other thing about you, your thinking, your thought pattern, and everything begin to align. This is you, and that is you. You are not two, you are not a copy, you are just original. Once you get that done, social definitions about who a man is, social definition, family definitions of about who a man is, doesn't have any bearing on you. Then you can actually set up yourself to start achieving things based on your capacity. You may not have the millions and the billions like other persons, but truly, truly within yourself, you're already achieving, and you're having this sense of contentment that, yes, I'm a man. So that's my summary tonight. Discover yourself, your self-identity, and build your personal brand. That's going to solve your problem of having the social definitions about being a man and the pressures. And the pressure is so much. Just discover yourself. That's it.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. If there's something I got from your last words, it will be that, see, as a man, it is not whether you are married or have children that defines you. So if you choose to be single and you choose to be single all your life, you are still a man, right? Or you hear people saying, now you be man when you want to get married and all of that. No. You are a man. You are a man. And that definition came in from what Tolushe said earlier on at the beginning. That definition came in from your conception. The moment your conception was made up of SXXY, right, you became a man. So, Mr. Tolushe, what will be your final words, sir?
think my final words would be know yourself, accept who you are, and make changes where you need to make changes in terms of your character and all of that. But most importantly, know yourself. Be comfortable in your manhood. Be comfortable in your gender. Accept responsibilities where you should. Don't let anyone make you cower into becoming what you're not, and don't feel pressured. Take things a step at a time. Don't feel pressured. I just want to share here that statistically, we have seen that more women attempt suicide than men do, but we have more men who complete suicide than women do, and that's because women, in one point, in one way or the other, we share with their fellow women what has been happening to them. But men, because we have been told to man up, would hold it until we are not able to handle it anymore. So please seek a community, people that you're close to, that you can share things with and not be ashamed and not be afraid. It helps a great deal. You are not an island. You're not created to live alone. You are a social being. So be part of a community where you can share your thoughts, where you can be yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Before I go to Chijoke, I want to talk with Barnabas. And the reason why I want Chijoke to be the last is because all through the month of August, I mean every Thursday, Chijoke will be here with me discussing the different topics. And like I have said, every Thursday we are focusing on different topics that affect men, about men and masculinity. So if you've not yet subscribed, I want you to subscribe right now and hit the notification bell so that you know every time we go live and every time we post amazing videos. And of course, for example, you just listened to Lucia. Lucia is also a counselor with All Right Passion. Barnabas, what will you say? Victor said something that, was it Victor? No. Shile, before Shile left, Shile told us something. Oh, Shile is back, safe. Sorry. Shile told us something that we have the responsibility to serve as role models to those who are behind us. So now you're in your very early 20s. Yeah, your very early 20s. So I would like to ask, I would like to ask you, since you're in your very early 20s, what advice would you want to give to those boys who are still teenagers that are struggling to put spirit on their face so that their beards will come out? Those ones that are trying to make their voice deeper than necessary. Those ones that are trying to toast their seniors. And those ones who are trying to, inflate, increase the cost of things so that they can get extra money to spend on one babe or the other. So what will be your advice to them regarding masculinity?
Okay, so I'd like to reiterate what everyone has been saying since about man know thyself. And secondly, I'd like to say understand every season and enjoy every season. Right now, okay, so coming to this meeting, I think the whole day I was at the passport office, right? There are a lot of responsibilities that come with the age that I thought I really wanted to be. I thought I really look forward to my 20s, but I didn't know that 20s comes with a lot of billing. I mean, just today, I sent money to landlord for the of Lagos. I sent money to we have a trip coming up at my tourism thing. So I sent money for those people to print things and stuff like that.
Just people at
So
30, you understand billing very well.
Okay. So I
This
think
one is rehearsal.
rehearsal billing, Jesus. Okay, just so like I said earlier, just enjoy every season. Right in the seasons that you are right now, there are advantages, there are things that you should learn, there are skills that you should learn, there are things that you need to understand. There are, like we've been saying, you need to understand yourself, understand your role, as you understand your responsibility as a man, and don't just be in a hurry to leave that stage. And if there's another thing I would like to say is, don't be afraid to feel, and don't be afraid to fear. I'm sorry, don't be afraid to fail, because as for the longest time, I usually tell my friends that I don't know how to cry, and that was because I was bullied when I was schooling in Ghana. So I kept telling myself that no, I will not let these people see me cry. I will not let these people see. I mean, they kept bullying me as a Nigerian. This is this. I said no. I'm not going to let them have the luxury of seeing me cry. I'm a man, and I will show them. I'm not going to cry. So I feel like for the longest time, even till now, whenever something hurtful, whenever pain happens to me, or like something physically harming happens to me, I tend to laugh because that was my coping mechanism to pain growing up. So if someone, let's say something lands on my leg, or let's say I hit a stone with my leg, instead of me to cry,
I hit my leg on
I just
stone.
start
Stone.
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 I hit my leg
I
on
hit my leg
stone.
on stone.
Instead of me to react or cry, I just start laughing and I start screaming and laughing, right? So, and that is it's turning to meta problem because like how do you laugh when you're experiencing pain? So don't be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to show emotions. Last, they might call you names, or they might laugh at you.
Simp.
I mean, they might call you a simp, right? I mean, Mr. Chijoke said something about girls beating him when he was much younger, and every single one of us here laughed. Do you understand? We didn't ask that. Wait, when the girls stronger, when the girls warriors, we just laughed. You get? So as a man, people will laugh. It's normal because there are societal things that people just expect from you. But they laugh. No, yeah, we'll move on. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to fail. You know, as men, everyone feels like, oh, failure is this permanent thing that as a man, just try to play it safe. Don't take risks as a man, but at the same time, don't take too many risks because people are dependent on you. People are this and that. So I think if I'm to leave with 2 words, is yeah, don't be afraid to feel and don't be afraid to fail. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Mr. Chijoke, I would like to hear the final words from you before I say a beautiful good night to all our guests. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. For
Wow.
you, Mr. Chijoke, I'll not just ask for the final words. I also want to ask a question. I want to add a question to it. And that question is from the problem that Sile caused. Socially, can you hear me?
Yes, I think it was
Okay,
breaking at
great.
some point, but I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I said I would like to ask you for your final words, and that final words will also come with a question. Is there a way we can, is there a faster and a simpler and easier way for us to come to the acceptance of the masculinity that we have, of the manhood that we possess? Like right now, we have different people, different ages, different body shapes, right? Mr. Victor talked about how he was short one time and he felt bad about that. He was troubled a lot about that. Barnabas talked about how he was bullied a lot and all of that. So is there a way that all of us, no matter our experiences right now, we can easily find that acceptance of who we are, that acceptance of finding ourselves? Because there are some men right now who have found themselves, but they are denying it because that person that they have found is not like the person they wanted to be.
Okay, well, what I'm going to say is this. I think it would be good for us to separate being a man from the roles of a man. I think that's where the problem is. You know, we just model the whole thing up. You understand? So there's a man is a man. That's the truth. You are a man because of biology, because of the way you were created. Then there are the rules. For example, being a husband, or in society today, we use the word man and husband interchangeably. So when you are a husband or you're a father, or somebody wants to call you a father or a husband, they use the word man to describe it. So they say, now man you be because you impregnated your wife. Now man you be because you paid school fees. Now man you be because all of that. So no, that's not how it should be. There's the role of a man, then there's being a man. So we are all men. That's the truth. And if society can help us, create this disparity, it's going to really help. It's going to really help men to come into the fullness of who they are. Because, for example, a man who is not able to provide for his family, a man now, a male man. Now, of course, that word man is even we didn't even look at that word, though. That word is deeper than just gender. Yeah, if you go to the etymology of that word, it's deeper than just gender. But let's not even go there. So what I'm trying to say is, you see a man who's able to pay his children's school fees at a particular point in time. You should look at that man and say, okay, probably at this point he's able to fulfill his role as a father, but he's a man still. Despite the fact that he's not able to pay, he's not able to do this. Or a man who is probably impotent. He's a man, but he's not able to, probably do his, duty as a husband. He's not able to satisfy his wife sexually. He's still a man. So if society can, create that, note the fact that there's a difference between those two words, and that one is an identity and the one is a rule, it will help, men, all the men out there. It will help all of us, and it will go a long way in helping us accept who we are, and of course grow into our responsibilities and our roles as men. Thank you.
Where's our host?
All right, Don Jackpa.
I think it's his network.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Thank you, guys, and it's been amazing. I've taken like 17 minutes more of your time. I sincerely apologize for all of that. Thank you, Mr. Victor. It's great to connect with you. Definitely, you are someone who want to always come back, who always want to bring you back. And thank you, Barnabas. This is also your first time of coming on the counselors. Thank you, Shile. It's your first time of coming out to the counselors. And yes, this is also my first time of partnering with Chijoke. In fact, some amazing things are coming upward as the year goes by. Just to give you a wind of it. So newly married men. Right?
Yes.
Newly married men is coming up for men and the rest. And in fact, first time dads is also coming up for those of us who on how to handle the experiences of being the first time dad. Thank you, our regular constant mental health therapist Toulouse. Over the years, he has played that role of being a mentor, of being a coach to all of us at All Rise Passion. And in fact, I get to refer most of my mental health cases and matters to him, because he's the expert in that. Thank you so much, family and friends. Thank you for everyone who has watched it now. We appreciate you. If you have not yet shared this video, share it right now on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere you can, on WhatsApp, and tell your friends to watch this. If you've not yet subscribed, subscribe. Next week, Thursday, we'll be back here. Chijoke will be here with me, and we'll also be having some amazing guests to discuss that topic. So I will not tell you what the topic is until you subscribe, because when you subscribe, you get to know what that topic will be. Thank you so much. In fact, as it stands right now, it's like I'm not the only person who is here from the city of Ibadan. Barnabas, right now, you're in Lagos, right? You're in Lagos. Toulouse, you're in Lagos. Chijoke, you're in Lagos. I refuse to be intimidated. I am not moved. Seriously not moved. But it's good to have all of you. And from the ancient and modern city of Ibadan, to everyone who has watched us far, thank you so much. Have a blessed night.
Thank you.
You're all. Thank you, family.